Welcome to the running journey. Welcome to the running journey.
Welcome to the running journey.
Welcome
to the running journey. Running journey, yeah. Welcome to The Running Journey, a transformative podcast telling the story of two brothers faced with a very tough time in their lives that decided to do something about it, get healthy, get fit, and start jogging. The Running Journey will take you through half marathons, Ironmans, ultra marathons, and their attempt at qualifying for the Boston Marathon.
Don't forget 5Ks. Sorry.
We're certainly not going to forget 5Ks, Charlie. This is The Running Journey. Listen to us while you run.
That's a great idea.
Okay, I think we have our intro.
Charlie.
Hey, Rob.
I don't think I've talked to you in a while. Well, I guess we did 2 half marathons together.
Yeah. But you did so many. So.
How you been?
I'm pretty good. I'm training the bike. The foot is feeling real everything's good. Yeah.
I think it's been 4 weeks since we've recorded, because I've run with Rob since then, and then I took a week vacation, so I've kind of been gone for 3 weeks. And I think we recorded the week of. Yeah, so I think it's just over 3 weeks since we recorded. A lot has happened in 3 weeks. You've probably signed up for 9 races.
No. I think I haven't signed up for anything. I don't know. I mean, so I've got the 2 Olympic triathlons coming up in June here. So
like this weekend, next weekend you have one?
Not this weekend, but in 10 days. Yeah.
Okay, you got Birds Hill, and then what do you got next? That's
St. Malo.
Yeah. Nice.
So it's gonna be fun. Looking forward to it.
I'm actually looking forward to Birds Hill next weekend. I signed up today.
For what?
For Birds Hill.
You're doing it?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Like in a week from now?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, okay, good. We'll be able to pace.
Why is it so surprising that I'm doing it?
No, it's not surprised. I'm 0% surprised. I didn't understand why you weren't registered previously.
Oh, I just hadn't I was thinking about Run with Rob. Like I was so focused on Run with Rob.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. So now I'll have a target. That's good.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'll have a target.
Well, that's great. I can't wait. Okay, cool. Okay, so you had some. We haven't talked about your 24 half marathons too much on this show. I know we've talked about it.
I think we did one episode, I think we did one episode just talking about my prep and my But I don't think. No, we've not recapped it because we haven't chatted since.
So let's talk about that. So maybe let's start by saying what were the challenges at the beginning and throughout, actually? Different types of mental challenges and...
Yeah, so as a reminder for those that are just checking on this email, I decided 9 months ago I would run across Manitoba. That's our province here in Winnipeg. That's equivalent to a state if you're an American. It's 506 kilometers wide, so it's 315 miles, I believe, 314 miles wide.
Yeah, about that.
And I decided I would do it through Charlie's advice and kind of my own thoughts. I decided I would do it like 2 half marathons per day. I do one in the morning, and I do one at 8 a.m. in the morning and 4 p.m. in the afternoon, which is a whole other episode. Or maybe how would I do it if I would do it again? Because here's a bit of a spoiler for you guys. I'm definitely going to do this again. It was the funnest, coolest, most awesome thing I've ever done in my life. I'm actually...
So I know why you loved it so much, because you got to just do something you love, which is running, but you got to do it with you got all your friends to do it, or part of it, and you got to hang out with people and talk for like 24 or 12 straight days where, and you're that type of I like it once in a while, but you're a very social person. So I think that's kind of why you loved it so much.
It felt like a fantasy camp. Like it felt like if I could just put everything I want to do in life in 1-2 week period, what would I want? I mean, obviously maybe I'd want a little bit less running because there was a lot of running, but I actually loved it. And I love the goal of it. And like, I loved hanging out with my buddies in the motorhome. Like I loved even like my parents being there with me. That was pretty cool. And then I loved running with different people every day and basically talking about running nonstop for 2 straight weeks. And I also loved that this thing was pretty much in the motorhome. It was like no email. No, I had a couple meetings that I had to do, but it was like complete separation from my busy life.
Yeah.
I missed my kids but I mean, I got my family to come out for the first weekend. I spent the middle weekend with my family. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was like perfectly built for me. Are you trying to say you don't think you'd have as much fun as me doing it, or you do it differently?
No, I think I would have fun. I would love to do it. Like, I think that would be the only like, the family part would be hard for me, but I think I would love doing that at one point in my life. But I think I would enjoy it for different reasons than you enjoyed it. I think you loved being able to like meet people and talk to people. And me, it'd just be the running that I would like. I don't mind like meeting like, so I got to meet my buddy Justin, which I hadn't seen. He flew in from BC to do this, and we ran a leg together, which was awesome. Got to run a leg with my sister, which was also awesome. She was very annoyed at me by the end because I was pushing her a little bit, and she was really annoyed when you accidentally phoned me, and I answered, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she was running and just like dying, and she was annoyed that we were able to have a phone call during the half marathon, and she was dying. But yeah, overall, it was. I think I would love it for different reasons, but I think you loved it for a lot of reasons.
I love the running part of it. I did, but you're right. I also I love the diner part of it. We'd go and eat at a hole in the wall for lunch every day, and just chilling and talking about life and like the evening, the dinner. But by the time that the evening hit, I was pretty wiped out. I was wiped out in the evening, but like I loved every day's challenge. I loved like being told at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. who I was running with tomorrow. I'd be like, Diggs, who am I running with tomorrow? He'd be like, okay, tomorrow it's your cousin, it's one of the coworkers, it's your hockey teammate, and it's your uncle. And I'd be like, okay, awesome. And then tomorrow afternoon, it's your whatever, your sister, and it was just like every day was like, hey, who am I running with tomorrow? And it was always like fun, different days every time. And I'd always like, oh, I wonder what pace I'm gonna run with them. And I wonder, like that part was really, really neat. And never mind the goal. So I've realized a lot of things about myself over the last 2 years, but one I know for sure now is I like big goals, and I like the journey of getting to the goal. And then like this was a big goal, right? For me, it was like pretty special goal to run 506 kilometers over 12 days. So it was a big goal, and it was like the bigger the goal, the bigger the funner the journey is for me.
Yeah.
So like I think of this triathlon we have this weekend. So like I'm excited about it because I'm excited you'll be doing it and we'll race and you'll beat me or whatever. But like the journey of it is minimal, right? Because it's like, oh shit, that's this weekend. And I haven't, okay, I'm gonna go do a triathlon this weekend.
Yeah.
But there's less journey now than there would have been in the early stages. Whereby this was a big journey. It's like it was a big journey to get there because it took us 9 months to plan for this thing, right?
Yeah. No, I would imagine. Yeah.
And never mind me
planning and logistics
and like me getting ready to run that much. But I mean, people don't want to hear this, but you probably know what I'm going to say. Like, it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard to run 2 half marathons a day for 12 days.
I mean, because you're because you were already in an amazing shape, right? So,
but for me, I thought it was going to be way harder for me. I thought it was going to be way harder for me.
You don't know until you do it, right?
You don't know.
Because there's so many unknowns about doing something like this, like how it's not just about how, like, aerobically, no problem. That was easy for you, right? But your body could wear down, right? But you had done a lot of training for that ultra, which probably helped your body not break down. And you've done 2 years of training, right? But never to that extent. So that's where you never know if something's going to break down, right? Like
Yeah.
your blisters at the beginning, right?
Blisters. Yeah. I had blisters, which like the worst part was blisters and my nipples towards the end. So I was doing
Really?
Band-Aids every day. Like it was getting through. But like, if that's your biggest problem if that's your biggest problem, you've had a pretty good stretch, right? Like I'd had get general soreness, but like nothing that you wouldn't get after doing I don't know, like a 6-hour bike ride on a Saturday morning kind of thing. So I didn't, I was expecting worse even for myself. So going in,
You don't know, right? Like, of
no
course
clue.
yeah.
Because I don't think like you can't read a book on this. You can't, there's no one which by the way, I'm going to write a book on this, how to run across a province, so that the next person who's doing it will know. But like, you don't know, there's no book that exists on how to do 500K in 12 days. So, because like the few people that have done it haven't, they haven't written a book. So I had no idea what to expect. I knew I'd be,
I feel like also I could do it, but I feel like it would definitely there'd be some unknowns there where I'm not sure if I'd get injured, and I'm not sure as far as being too tired, that wouldn't be my concern. It'd be more about injuries and like blisters, things like that could happen, right? But
what about the mental piece of it? Do you think it'd be like, holy shit, that's a lot of miles and that's tough grind?
no, to me the hardest part would be like injuries.
Yeah. So I think you and I are on the same page here. I was kind of hoping, I think I even said this when we recorded, I said, I hope I don't get injured and there's nothing I can do, but like, I wasn't,
but I mean, I've run probably 1,000 miles injured. Like, it's not like when you're injured, you're like completely stopped. Like, you can keep going. It's probably not good for you, but in this type of situation where you're just trying to survive, worst case, you run injured for a bit. Like, it's not good, but
I remember when there was on the second last day, my physiotherapist was taping me up my feet because they were all blistered up. And he's like, oh my God, this doesn't look good. And I was just sitting back and I was like, who cares? There's only 3 legs left.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, worst case, my feet will be raw and they'll be bleeding. And like, who cares? I remember telling
so your blisters were still really bad by the end?
They got bad again kind of on the second, third last day. New batch of blisters kind of through
It's
this.
those alpha flies, man. I'm telling you.
I
wore my alpha flies for the first time in like since the marathon, and I got blisters. First time I got blisters in a while.
So I wore them once.
Yeah.
And I got blisters on the first day. And then I basically tried my New Balance carbon plates.
Yeah.
And I got blood through my socks on the side. So then I put them away and I went back to the old faithfuls, like my old Nikes that I've run 1,000,000 miles in. And like, I just went back to what I knew and whatever, there was no problem. I basically rotated 2 pairs of shoes the last 20 half marathons. And it was,
you need new ones.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was like, I'm gonna go with what I know. I'm gonna go with what I know. And
I'm definitely. So my next big shoe purchase is going to be the Vaporfly 3s, but I'm waiting to see when those.
Yeah, because I don't think you want to do high mileage with. You can't. I don't know what they say, but like, I don't think they would advise me to wear Vaporflies every day for 12 days, right? Probably not.
No, I don't. I think, well, it depends. Like, to me, they're pretty narrow. Like, you have to, like, they're not as forgiving. Like, when you're running fast, they're good.
Yeah.
But like when you're kind of just tired, they're probably not as good.
No, I've having done it, there's no way. You want comfort. You want like the shoe that you could do 1,000,000 miles in it. And it was like the shoes were, I remember just
like those trail shoes, any type of trail shoes would be probably good for that.
I did a half in Lisbon last weekend.
Yeah.
I went to Lisbon for a week and I did a half marathon there, and it was like I didn't know
So
this.
after doing 24, you did another one just for no reason?
I was there, and there was one in the town I was in, and I was like, let's go do a half
Well,
marathon.
how was the course?
It was like a trail run through the bush, and like there were like you'd get to like a spot, and there you'd have to like
Hey, where do I go? Left, right?
no, just like the terrain. You'd have to be on your bum to go
Oh,
down certain
slide
pieces.
down.
There were portions where it was like steps, very, very sharp steps down that people were doing sideways.
Oh,
There
wow.
was like places where you had to like pull.
It's a trail half.
It took me 2:15,
Wow.
and I went hard. Like I feel
Oh,
like I went hard. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was like you're in Lisbon, and everything's in Portuguese, and it's like
yeah.
it was cool. But like what I'm saying is, I wore my trail shoes there, and I was like really glad I brought them. Really glad I had them. But it was this run with Rob was like it's the coolest thing I've ever done. It was the most. It's like so cool. It was so cool when I sat down, and Diggs dropped me off after in the motorhome, and I just saw the motorhome leave, and I was just like,
You must have been sad. I bet you were sad.
I was overwhelmed with like negative sadness, like and Diggs texted me, and he's like, now what? And I was just like, let's go do another province. Like, let's do another one like in September. I actually said that to him. He's like, I'm in. And I was like, okay, well, like I said that at the time. I'm like, okay, September, let's pick another province. Let's do it. Because it was that
Prince
fun.
Edward Island.
Well, yeah, that would be like 3
days.
days. But I kind of decided I wanted to do either Alberta or New Brunswick. New Brunswick, because I know a lot of people there. It's about the same distance, believe it or not. 506 kilometers. If you go by the coast and you go like the Acadian.
That'd be a beautiful one.
Yeah. But Alberta, they've got a lot of progress with the CMV legislation and all that. So I'll do one of those.
Definitely go west to east.
Yes, definitely starting in the mountains. But I decided I'm not going to do it in September. I just have way too much stuff on the go. But I will do it next year and what I want to do is I want to bring my family with me. And then we do like a family trip for a couple of weeks or whatever. And yeah, I won't be able to hang out all the time with the kids or whatever, but at least they're with me, right? It's going to be, we'll be able to do some stuff. Man, like I was reading Terry, like, so there's so many things that I thought I would do on this trip. I was like, I brought like books and board games and like, we're so many things we're going to do.
You were busy the whole time, right?
The whole time was nonstop, because by the time you're back, you're recording your videos, your thank yous, your sponsors, you're going to eat, you're figuring out, what you're doing. And then you're going to the hotel. Maybe you're not. You're laying down for 45 minutes if you can. I think I probably took 4 naps out of the 12 days. And otherwise you're just getting ready to go back out and like it's start all over again. And then you're going to bed early, and it was just nonstop, which was cool, I think. And I was reading about Terry Fox on the weekend. On the plane ride back from Lisbon. When he hit Ottawa, he did Ottawa, and then he did Toronto, and then he went all the way down and did Windsor and all that. He'd added like 400 miles just to add them, just to do more fundraising.
Yeah.
He was doing 2-3 interviews or visits or like meetings in schools per day.
Wow.
Like he was adding that onto his miles. Like I think of how wiped out I was, and I only did 12 days of this.
Yeah.
And I had a nutritionist, I had a physiotherapist working me, I had like a million volunteers, and like he was doing it by himself. I mean, I know he had cancer care behind him and stuff, but like he was like going to the schools, he was meeting the kids, he was signing autographs, and he had to do all his miles. Like I can't believe, like to me, that's why he broke down. Like it was way too much for his schedule. Like I was wiped out every night, just wiped out. I want to go to bed every night.
Yeah.
But it was so fun. It was the coolest thing I've ever done. And I was worried I was worried afterwards. Towards the end, I started getting sad. Like when there was because I was this is going to end. Tomorrow is my last. And I was like because it was so fun. And I felt so good still. Obviously, I recognize that I got lucky that I didn't get hurt. And maybe if I do it too many times, maybe I'll get hurt or whatever. But it was like I had no problems, 0 problems mentally, except for I had one leg that was very, very tough. The afternoon legs were way tougher than the morning legs by about half hour's worth of effort.
Yeah, well, I guess you don't get a sleep recovery.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet that if what I would like to do at some point is just do like, or maybe there's data on this. I'm sure there is. But for me, a 4 p.m. start versus an 8 a.m. start, I'm guessing is 10 or 15 minutes without the earlier leg. Like I'm thinking it's
I mean, so there's two things. So to me, the temperature
yeah, so that's big.
is I don't think it's 15 minutes, but it's got to be 5 minutes maybe.
But just the daily fatigue, the fact that you get up at 8 a.m. and it's your first race, you haven't done anything, your health, like you know your nutrition's good, you know you're fresh. You're so fresh in the morning.
No, maybe the temperature is like if you get an ideal temperature in the morning, like it feels good, you know.
The reason I think it's something significant is I had a lot of people who came to me that had like trained and they were doing their first afternoon leg. They were doing an afternoon leg and it was like they'd come in 10 minutes slower than they expected or whatever. I shouldn't say a lot. There was maybe 3 or 4 people. But for me, it was about a half hour slower. And I think maybe 10 minutes of that is just the time and 20 minutes is like the
Yeah.
So it was for me to do like a 2:10. I think I did 2:06 or something in the afternoon. Most of my mornings were all between 2 hours and 2:10, my mornings. And my afternoons were all like 2:20 to 2:30, 2:15 to 2:30.
Yeah, but it also depends on who you were with and stuff, right? Like
Yeah, I was always running with someone.
Yeah, I guess it was harder for the person you were running with, but it could have just been that the person you were running with in general, the morning ones were slightly in better shape.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to say like, I feel like I got a pretty good vibe of like people and the effort that they could. That's my guess. I'm guessing it was about 10 minutes if you had to just morning versus afternoon. I think probably 6 or 7 of that is temperature, and maybe 3 or 4 minutes is just fatigue from the day.
Yeah.
But that's my guess. But what it was really neat, what I really thought was awesome was within like that Justin leg.
Yeah.
I knew 5 minutes in his time. I knew he was going to do 2:07, 2:10. Like
really?
Yeah. And I knew I was
So
able to.
What I was surprised with the 2 legs that I ran with is like, I guess me and you are trained pretty well. Like there's no, like, we're like holding back our pace, right? And we're used to like speeding up at the end, and the 2 legs that I ran, the person that I ran with was in good shape, but at like, I don't know, 15K, they just start, it's like all of a sudden you can see, oh, okay, they're breathing hard all of a sudden, and they're like done.
You would have loved doing what I did because you would have seen it with your eye. The data that I collected, anecdotally, but real data too, because I have my watch so I was always running at their pace. I was always running at their pace unless I wasn't able to. I was always running at their pace unless I was. And what I would do in the morning legs, because I felt fresh, I'd ask them what they wanted to run. And a lot of them told me they wanted to break 2. Like a lot. Like I'm not talking 2 or 3. So we were trying to break 2, like Mox, Labby, Uncle Ray, James O'Brien. Like there's so many that came out that said that they were trying to break 2, and that we were like, I would like pace them to try to break 2, but 2 of them did, right?
Yeah, like it's not easy. Like you got to train for this stuff, I guess, right? But yeah, everyone just kind of dies down at the end, eh?
It's so crazy when I know I would tell. Sometimes I'd get cocky a little bit. And I'd be like, Mini Grains, just so you know, you're
breathing a little too hard now.
Well, you're 2 miles away from like falling back or whatever. You're 2 miles away from not being able to keep up or whatever.
And that's the thing with with more experience, you start knowing. You're like, if this is sustainable, right?
I knew, yeah.
Like our like the horizon that you see forward, right? Because we've practiced so much, or people that have practiced longer, they can see ahead like 10 miles and be like, okay, in 10 miles, I'm not going to be able to do this, right?
That's a great way of putting it. The horizon, the distance. Like these guys are running 1 mile right now in their head. They're just going, and I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen. Like I know what's going to. And the more I ran with people, the more I was like, 5 minutes in, I'd be like, that's a 210. That's a
Yeah,
215.
yeah.
Like I just knew
Yeah.
within a
But
few
then
minutes.
you don't know, like, so my sister, some people have the ability to keep pushing even though it gets really hard. Like that's not all the same for everyone. Like our
I agree.
sister did an amazing job of keeping, even though her second half was much slower, but because it was hilly, she was able to keep pushing like for another 20 minutes after she was like completely dead. So
That was a pretty crazy day because so I didn't run with Tanya because I was with Claude, my
yeah,
dad,
yeah,
who signed up for a half marathon, 71 years old with stage 4 advanced ALL, non-Hodgkin lymphoma cancer, fresh off of chemo. And like, remember the day before, you weren't there the day before. I'm like, Dad, you're signed up? Are you running tomorrow? And he's like, yeah, I'm running a half marathon tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, I was like, oh, is he ready? Because we had talked about it in Marchand a little bit, but like he hadn't been able to do his training because of whatever, X, Y, and Z injuries.
well, we had talked about it. I was like, I didn't know his training, but I was like, is this even possible? Like, and it was, I guess. Well, he's pretty stubborn, I guess, like we are, maybe.
So I saw a lot of people struggle through half marathons over the course of my 24 days. I saw a lot of people struggle. Nobody pushed and struggled like Claude did. Like nobody had a
Well,
bad.
had you seen Tanya?
I didn't see Tanya.
She also did. I don't know. Probably not as much as Claude, but she pushed hard for the last 30 minutes.
And Claude was the one where I had to suggest walk run because I was like, hey, he's gonna die here. He's gonna die on the. So I'm like, hey, Claude, we're gonna walk run. He's like, Ma, I don't think I need to. Like, we'll walk run. So we walk run. We did 9-1. And then at one point, right where kind of everyone starts faltering at, kilometer 15, 16.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we'll do 8-1. And I remember like convincing him that we needed to do 7-1. And then I told him, I had mapped it out. I said, if we do 7-1, 6-1, 5-1, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're done, Claude. So your running gets shorter. And he's like, okay, I could for sure do that. And then like the next leg, he's like, I can't do this. Like, so he had to walk.
That's amazing. So anyways, so with Tanya, it was kind of similar as well, because she at the end, I was like, if you run 2 miles left, she was pretty much dead at that point.
And that was straight uphill in Brandon, Manitoba.
No, this was before the hill. So this was a little bit before the hill, but 2 miles left. And I'm like, hey, if you do your last 2 miles in 9.5, you'll beat Karen. And she didn't respond. She just kept running. She slowed down a little bit, but she kept going. She's breathing really hard. And then we get to the big hill, and it's huge. And I hadn't told her about that hill coming up. And I start saying, and before, like, I started a sentence, I was going to say, like, we should probably walk most of this hill because you're like dying. But before I even got the chance to finish the sentence, she's like, I'm doing the best I can. And she was really mad at me. So anyways, I said, okay, well, listen to what I have to say here. We need to walk this hill anyway. So
you were trying to get her to just walk, and she was like, I'm pushing as hard as I possibly can.
She thought I was wanting her to push her harder, but I was actually, anyway. So
what I realized with Claude is like, I had to stop him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm the one who had to stop him because he was like, yeah. And we ended up.
Well, I wasn't worried about Tanya. Like, I know she's like in really good shape. So
yeah, she did a 205 or something?
206, yeah.
206. So yeah, Karen did the fastest time for all women in the entire. She did 204, 203,
203, I think. Yeah.
So Tanya had the second fastest time for all women. Karen did the first leg. Did the first leg, and then Claude, what did he finish? 240?
247.
247. But I mean, he jogged the whole thing.
Well, no, 247 is amazing. Like, I mean, there's people doing 230s, and like, I mean, no, it's amazing.
Dan Pichet did a 247. Like, it's Syl Bourgeois, the athlete that I coach that we talked about on the show. I coached him, and he's an athlete. He plays hockey with me. He's 34 years old or whatever. He pushed very hard. By the way, his heart rate the last like 4 miles is above 190. I was like, eesh. But anyways, like, so I'm
sure that can't be.
no, it was like he would spike and then he'd walk like 30 seconds or 10 seconds.
Yeah,
It would drop to like 185 and then he'd jog again. And then he would jog again. So his average over the lot, it was, and Marco, another guy who finished his half, the two guys that I coach, I'm proud to say they finished, but I'm just saying how Claude did the same time as Sil.
yeah, it's crazy.
Like Claude, and he pretty much jogged the whole thing at the end, straight uphill in Brandon, Manitoba, the toughest hills in all of Manitoba. Like maybe the last hill in Falcon, like at the border, the Ontario border, but he's maybe walked part of up of those hills there because but he jogged the whole thing. It was,
Wow.
what an inspiring day. And that was day, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something like that. And I was just like, oh, like that reminded me that I had, I keep thinking like I see people suffer. I saw a lot of people suffer through half marathons.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, everyone's like, I can't believe what you're doing, Rob.
Because a lot of people like only train for like 2 months, right?
Yeah, or less.
Obviously, they're gonna suffer,
And I just kept thinking, like, I had the easiest day out of everyone here today. Like, yes, I'm doing a lot of these, but my days are easy. My half marathons are a lot easier than your one half marathon.
Yeah.
Like mini grains pushed so hard. I was running with Labby, mini grains and Raj Taren, mini grains, Mox. Me and Labby started one morning leg.
Pretty good hockey line there.
A pretty good hockey line for sure. And Labby wanted to break 2 hours because he wanted to win the bet. He wanted to win the $500. So very windy day. We had the wind right in our face, like really.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I was like, Labby, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to win. I want to break 2 hours. I'm like, okay, he's like, can you pace me? I was like, sure, I'll pace you. So I was like, I'll pace you for the first half because I don't want to go that hard. So I'll just pace you for the first half is what I told him. But like halfway in, I started liking, like I wanted him to
pacing is so much fun. Pacing other people. When I did it for Tanya and Justin, it's like, it makes it feel so much easier. I don't know why.
And you want that person to succeed. You want to reach the goal.
Yeah. But you do kind of feel helpless when they start dying at kilometer 15.
Well, Justin, I could have told you he's not going to.
You were used to it. You were used to it. I wasn't. I'm like, Justin, come on, you gotta.
I wanted to tell you. I was like, Charlie, like let him go because he's not going to do sub 2. Because the way he was, but I mean, Justin did unbelievable. I forget what he did.
Yeah, he did like 206, I think. Yeah.
Really good time. But Labby, like
he told me his training was he ran 3 10K runs in the last 2 weeks before. That's it. Like, I mean,
he's a really good athlete, obviously.
He used to always run, like he used to do a lot of running but he said he hadn't been doing it for a while, but then he started up again. Right?
So I'll get to Labby in a sec, but there's Justin point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's my.
Every
time I visit him, we do like a 10K. So.
A lot of people trained with 10Ks or 15Ks. A lot of people found like online programs and they kind of topped out at 15K. All of those people.
Wonder why everyone dies at 15K.
They were all dying. 16, 17, 18. All of 18 was the hardest kilometer for everyone.
Yeah.
Like Pierre Pichet, the Savars, Uncle Ray, all these guys, they never did more than 50 or 16K. And every time we'd get to 16K, I could feel them. And then it was like just misery. And like, I wanted to talk them through it.
Yeah, like really.
But they didn't want to hear from me.
People should, for half marathons,
you should do 21K. I'm convinced now.
No, you should do like 23, a bit more, I would say.
Yeah, I'm convinced now that if you want to have fun and do a good time,
for a half marathon.
For a half marathon, you should.
A marathon might be different, like because you might be doing damage if you go too long, right?
I get it, yeah.
But a half marathon, to me, for sure, you want to do at least that distance.
Yeah, because I ran with 163 people over the course of 24 half marathons.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times, 95% of the time, they were falling. And of the ones that trained, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't keep their pace. Maybe the pace was too high, but they were doing the same pace they were doing in their training, which you had no problem with to do 15.
But you need to have that knowledge of that horizon, right?
Yeah, they didn't have it, and they would collapse, and the heart rate would start going up, and then they couldn't do it mentally, and then they start thinking about how tough this is, and then they start walking every time. which is okay. They all got it done, right? Every single person got it done. So like, I'm so proud of the people that I ran with. And to think, I don't know what the final number is, 140 or something did their first ever half marathon. Like that's just blows my mind. Like those people are going to be, the rest of their lives, they're going to be like, I did a half marathon. Most of them are never going to do another one. I'm quite sure. Maybe a handful will eventually like running and do, but even just those 140, like Raj Turan, to go back to that Labby story, we start running and I'm like, and we're talking about it. What I would do is I'd realize that we needed to discuss the pacing before the race, because a lot of people would just be like, oh, I'll just run with you, whatever pace. Like, well, that guy wants to do 2 hours. That guy wants to do like, so a lot of people had no idea. So with Turan and Mox and those guys, Mox was trying to take another run at breaking 2 hours because he didn't have a good first race, right? So Mox, Turan, Mini Grains, me, and Labby. And we went out and I'm like, okay, well, Labby wants to do 2. I'm going to pace him. What do you guys want to do? Like, we'll follow you. They all said, we'll follow you. So I'm pacing and like 5K in, everyone's
You're
there.
hearing the breathing change.
I could hear the breathing change. And I knew Mini Grains was going to do like a 205 or 210 or something around there. And I knew Turan really impressed me because he's 6'5". He does not have a running body, but like he trained a little bit. Oh, I don't know, a medium amount, I guess. And then I lost Mox. Mox was the first one to fall, actually. And then,
well, I mean, if you did a hard marathon the week before, like you can't just, you have to. Had he done an easy one, maybe, but
yeah. So but I mean, he realized that afterwards. He's like, anyways, but he did 2 half marathons in a week, and he didn't win, but
amazing.
He's fit. And then so we lost Turan, I want to say, at like kilometer 14, and we lost or maybe 11 or 12, and then we lost Mini Grains at like 13, 14.
Mini Grains lasted that long, right?
Yeah, and it was just me and Labby now. So I was like, wind in our face, huge wind, and a little uphill just outside of like Haddishville. And I was like, this is the toughest day yet, Labby, just so you know. This is the toughest running day because of the wind. Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, how you? I kept asking him, how you feeling? And I started really wanting him to do it, but he was talking less and less. But I was like, I think he's got it, because I could tell with his breathing.
Did you try things like with Tanya? I was like, it's supposed to hurt now. I was telling her, like, at the end.
I would tell him, like, I just say simple stuff like, these aren't easy, but like it's going to be worth the pain, like stuff like that. Like, I promise you, it's going to be worth it. Like stuff like that. I was trying different things, but the other thing I realized is a lot of times, like, it was lost already. Like Uncle Ray.
You're out of it. Like, you have no chance. Like,
it was done by the time I was making those speeches. So instead, what I did with Uncle Ray, by the way, 65 years old, 63 years old.
He had a good time, right?
Yeah, 206 or 8 or one of those that finished right around there. Yeah. But like, for him, I realized he's not going to make it. The 2 hours is not going to happen. So instead, I'll encourage him to do smart strategic planning for the last 10K for it to be enjoyable and for him to still have a good time. So we would like walk 30 seconds here and there. And, you know, he ended up having fun, but I couldn't. The only one that I really could pace, and I had that we did it. Well, Karen came close. She didn't quite have it, but Labby did it.
Labby, though, is a little bit more trained, I'd say, than most of the other people you ran with.
He had already done a half in the bush. He was trained. He's fit. He was mentally prepared. He'd already done one, so he knew what the battle was.
How it would feel, right? So that's the other part. Yeah.
And he was able to vocalize how he felt to me. So like, I didn't treat him. I treat him a little differently than I treated most of the others. I felt he was a half step up.
He knew about it before. Like, it's like, if you don't have the experience, maybe you don't know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize what's coming until it's too late, type of thing. Right?
Like, I'm so impressed with Mini Grains and Turan and those guys that had never done a half.
No, they're awesome. Yeah.
And they just went out and did it, but they didn't know. They didn't know what the wall was going to be and how hard they were going to hit on the side of the head by a 2x4, basically, when they hit kilometer 15. They can't keep going at that pace, right? Yeah. But Labby, like, what was cool with Labby, by the way, this was a pacing clinic that I put on.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
540. Man,
why do I love pacing so much?
It was the coolest thing ever, because I took it very seriously, very, very seriously. And I think I did 14 consecutive kilometers within 3 seconds of our targeted pace. So like we were aiming, I said, okay, 540
What was
is
your 540 or something? Was your kilometer?
540 was to break 2, but I was like, okay, let's do 535s
Yeah.
and we'll go at that for a bit and we'll pick up the pace if we think we have it. And if we need to, we hit big hills, we'll have a little bit of a cushion, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were
yeah.
aiming for 535s. So we weren't talking. Never mind. He went behind me and he's like, can you draft me? So
No, that's cheating.
is it
I mean,
cheating?
sorry, I do it all the time.
I was like, dude, I've run like 19 of these and you're fresh. Like, why don't you go in front?
That's awesome.
No,
Great strategy, Labby.
he wanted it, and so once a kilometer, I'd go 534, and he'd go just like a thumbs up or whatever, and we just keep going. 535. I think 4 consecutive 535s. Anyways, I was a pacing clinic till we got to, so we had accumulated like a minute over the first 12K, right? A spare minute. So I was like, and then when there was 2 miles left, I was like, Labby, we can do 930s here. Like, you got this. But I think we should push because Diego still had a run the next day. I was like, 158 is way, way, way different than 159.50. Like, that's 2 minute. Like, it's way, way faster. And there's a chance that he might not be able to beat 158, but he might be able to beat 159.50, right?
Yeah.
So we're not coasting, is what I told him. I said, we're going to push this as hard as we possibly can. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll see if I could follow you. So I started pushing the pace. So we did like 520s, and the last
That's
K.
the best part best part of a race, like when you can push it at the end, eh?
Oh, so
what
fun.
a feeling, eh?
It's so fun. And for him, I wanted it so bad. It became like my race. It became like I wanted to do sub 2. But I mean, I did, my heart rate was like 145 or whatever. So like I pushed, but it wasn't like I pushed hard. But I had so much fun in that race pushing Labby. And then the last K, I'm like, Labby, 1K, let's try to break 158. Let's go. So like we pushed, so we did like a 505 or something for the last K. And like we 158, 10, 20 or something. And but it like, he did it and it was like so fun. And then I think I told you this, like the last day I wanted to go really low and I wanted to see what I could do kind of thing. But I ended up running with Joel and this other guy that I met, Dan Bevington. Joel, my personal trainer, who is an ultra marathon runner, but told me after the race, he's never run that fast. He said like that, not never, but he said in a while kind of thing. Cause he does 100-mile races and 50-mile races. So we were going up. We gained a lot.
That was uphill quite a bit, eh?
Uphill. So the last 3 kilometers, I just said, fuck it, I'm going. Like I'm going. So I just kind of
went hard alone.
Well, they kind of followed me. So I did. Well, they were.
I feel like Don and Joel should be able to follow you, but
they were maybe like just behind me, like not far behind me, but like my last 3K were like they were so kind of doing 530s, 540s. I did 520, then 501, then 453, and then 404.
404?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. So
you did 404 on your last kilometer.
My last kilometer of the whole thing. Yeah. So it was downhill because what we did is
okay. Now
but we went to the Ontario sign and then we went back to the Welcome Center. So you're going straight uphill.
Yeah.
And then you're going back to the Welcome Center and the crowd was at the Welcome Center.
Yeah.
So now I'm going downhill. So I just sprinted the last kilometer. And I remember looking at Joel and I was like, okay, let's push it here for the last kilometer. And I remember he's like, aren't we pushing already? Like, dude, like slow down. Anyways, it was cool to run with Joel and stuff, but I ended up not like, this might sound like a cop out and maybe it does. I ended up just wanting to just enjoy it and like not do a 145 or whatever. Just
your last leg. No, but I mean,
I had so much.
When you sent me that text, I was like, I don't think you should try to push it too much. But I didn't say that.
But it was natural. As soon as I started going, I was like, this is good. I'm happy at this pace. And Don was.
I think you want to push a half marathon every couple months, every 3 months or something at the moment.
Yeah. So I ended up doing only 2 sub 2-hour legs in the whole thing with Labby. And then I beat him by like a minute just to say I beat him on the last day. And which, by the way, I wasn't lining up to beat him when there was like 2 miles left. Because what happened on the last day, I ran with this Don Bevington guy who's turned out to be a beauty, and Joel. and Louis Alain and Q and Grains. And
So
they
those
were
are
all,
pretty good runners.
everyone broke
I don't know about Q, but
Q did
and
a
Grains like he used to be good. I don't know, but
Grains did a 205 that day. Q did
on
205
a tough course, on a super
on a
tough
very
course.
tough course. So those guys did well. And then Louis Alain, who's like 60 something years old, broke 2. And that was his
Really?
third leg. Yeah, like that last day was the fastest group we had by far.
Oh yeah.
And
I
what was
should have
cool?
went. I should have went, but I had
Well,
work.
it was a pretty emotional, but I ended up just kind of enjoying the time. But it was Dawn. So this was the first. So every other leg, I would ask the people what time they wanted, and I would, in my mind, volunteer to pace them, and I would be their support, their encouragement. And there was maybe one, that tough leg that I told you about, that Trav Jansen supported me.
Yeah.
So thankfully he was
Oh,
there that
Trav,
day.
yeah.
I was having a rough day. I was having a ton of blisters, and I had an hour drive, and I had to drive back, and it was just, I wasn't in a good spot for whatever reason, because I'd had a ton of pain in my foot.
How can you not be in a good spot when you're around Trav? Like that guy's 100% million positive all the time. I don't know.
And he talked the whole way, and he was just
Oh
like,
yeah, he loves talking. Yeah.
he was just inspiring, and he was like, "Oh man, you're unreal, Rob." And I was like, "Thank you, Trav." And then he gave me a ride to Winnipeg, and I went back to the city for my son's birthday that day. That was the low point for me, but it was one leg that was tough. That we ended up doing like 215 or something. I asked him, "Can we slow it down to like 215 or something? I'm not feeling great." And it was like, that was my one tough leg, and I did it with Trav. But every other leg, I was the strong one of the group. No, that's not true. The Riley leg, the kid from Verdun.
The 128 guy. Yeah.
The kid did a 128, and that's another story. But every other leg, I was the one who was strong, and I was the one encouraging the person I was running with. And I was like, "Hey, what pace you want to go? We could do this," and trying to support them and encouraging them at the end, and then walking at the end with them when they were struggling, and ended up doing whatever time. Now, the last day, Don, like he's a different character, but he's very passionate about running, and he's very into his pacing and all this. So he took the role of Rob Tatro. So very early on, he was like, "Oh, great form, Rob. Oh, yeah, that one was 525. We're doing fantastic here. You're looking good. A bit of a hill up ahead here, but we're going to stay on the right." And so I basically,
he was being the Charlie when we do our marathons.
He was being the Charlie, and he was like a coach to me. So I basically said, at first I was like slightly annoyed, because I was like, "Dude, I've done 23 of these. Like, I know." But then I was like, no, you know what? This is cool. Like, he's so passionate about it. He wants to share. So I just stopped looking at my watch, and I just listened to him, and I just enjoyed the run. So I had no idea
what.
He talked lots, and he paced, but when we picked up the pace towards the end, there was less talking. He had stories, and we also were running with Joel. So Joel would tell the odd story, but really it was this Don guy, who was Don Bevington. It was just a great guy to run with on my last leg. I'm very happy I ran with him.
So story is, when I PR'd my 5K, so I don't know this Don Bevington, but when I PR'd my 5K, which is, you would think is very slow, but it was like a 2019, like 20 minutes and 19 seconds. He was just ahead of me.
He told me that it was one of the fastest efforts he'd done for that. He runs in that area, so he's he works at the Welcome Center, I think, in Ontario or in Manitoba.
Yeah, I know he's from around there. Yeah.
So he runs those hills a lot. He knew all the hills. He said that was the hardest effort he'd ever put in those hills, and he said it was one of the hardest efforts he'd done. So he had fun. But what my point is that he just kept like encouraging me, and like, "You got this, Rob. Oh man, you're killing this. You're gonna have a great time today, and a lot of people waiting for you at the finish line today, Rob. It's gonna be awesome." And I remember thinking, like, he thinks I'm struggling, like, but I was just quiet and emotional because it was my last leg. I was just like taking it all in, and I was like, parts of the way I was crying, because I was like, "Fuck, this is the end. Like, this sucks. This is the end." But he ended up, so I didn't have my watch. But then when there was like 2 miles left, I was like, "Where are we at here, Don?" And he's like, "Sub 2's in the books. Sub 2's good." I'm like, "Okay, but like, I need to break 158 because I want to beat Labby, right?"
What, that all of a sudden you want to break Labby? Okay.
So he's like, "Well, that means you need to you need to blah blah blah." And I was like, "You need to do like 8 minute miles."
You need to pick it up a little bit here, Rob.
Yeah. So I was like, "Okay." So and then with 1 mile left, I'm like, "What's our time?" And he said, and it's okay. So I went for the last.
Here we go. That's a great feeling though when you can speed up.
When I was busting,
I love speeding up for the end of race.
oh my God, when I was busting down that hill and the finish line was there, I get shivers just thinking about it because I was going as fast as I possibly could. And it's the same feeling I had when I did that mile against Labby and Diggs when I was racing them.
Yeah.
Similar feeling, but like 10 times better because the crowd was there and like there was the big arch for the finish. And then I crossed the finish line and I was just like, what, like, no more. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, I would imagine that would have been a bit sad for sure for you
But the good news is like I signed up for an Ironman that night.
Okay.
I went home and I just signed up for Lake Placid.
Okay. We should talk about that on another episode because we'll talk.
Are you coming to Lake Placid?
No, 1,000,000% no.
Okay.
But okay, so things that we need to do in the near future. We haven't talked about this, but
make a list.
So we need to do that chess episode because I think that'll be really fun.
You want to do it next week? You want to do it next week?
Next week, let's do it. Just pick a date and we'll figure it out. We'll go that track.
Should we maybe?
We could do an outdoor track instead and maybe alter it a little bit.
Well, you would have to have 2 boards. How would you do it? Where's the indoor track? It's at
maybe every 2 moves. It's downtown Pacific, yeah.
That one? Why don't we just go there?
Yeah. As long as we're allowed or whatever, we need the logistics.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'll look into it with Diggs. I'll get him to book something. We'll go. We'll pay the drop-in fee. I'll get him to come and videotape it, and maybe I'll get Ivan to come too. 2 cameras.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
We'll do that. We have to book that, so we have to do that. But we also got a lot of other things. So I mean, I feel.
I have a few more, but yeah, go ahead if you.
No, you keep going.
So Tanya, our sister, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing the math, and since she's a woman and she's 45 to 49, her Boston qualifying time is 3:50, which is really possible for her. She did a 2:06 with no training in the last 6 weeks up a hill. So the math from where she is currently, which is maybe a 4:30 marathon, maybe a bit more because she'd probably die, but she's close to 4:30, so she needs to basically cut 45 minutes off that time. Talked to her. She's a little bit interested, so I think we should train her to do it.
She was in my office today. So Tanya and I work together, for those that don't know. And she just asked me how I was doing. And I kind of opened up a little bit about, that would have been a good episode, like why I run. And we ended up talking about her, why she runs and what. And she's interested. She was kind of leaning towards no, but I think we just need to nudge her a little bit. I told her, I said, I'll go run with you. And she said, Charlie already said he'd go run with me. I said, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Either one, yeah.
Because I think like you can't underestimate how much she's going to save by the downhill and the cheater shoes, right?
Yeah. If she does she'll do it easy. That she'll barely needs any training to do it. If she takes one of those courses, the downhill course, she'll do it.
Plus, it could be like a bonding experience. Imagine all 3 siblings running Boston after.
Yeah. So I think we should do it. I think we should like really convince her to do it and give her a training plan, set up her training peaks. And I think she just needs we can talk about it, but I don't think she needs much training. But
I think she needs convincing. Because if she doesn't want it, then she's like the key is wanting it, right?
Yeah. I think she does want it. So here's why I think she wants it. I think she wants it because it'd be a unique thing to qualify for the Boston Marathon in your first attempt, right? I think she wants to have that distinction to be able to say, you know what, Boston Marathon is not a big deal. I did it in my first try.
I never even thought of that. What's the percentage of people that do that? What's the percentage of people?
But the reason she doesn't want to do it is she doesn't want to commit to running all the time, right? So if we give her kind of a 3 times a week plan. Yeah.
I want to find that out, but it can't be, it's got to be extremely rare, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's the selling point I'd go with her.
I think that you have to sell it in that like the training schedule is less. Like, it can't be like our training schedule.
No. We got to get her on a 3-day-a-week schedule, and yeah.
Fudge. Yeah, she talked about it today. So,
and the other thing is, the other selling point is that she gets to come to Boston with us.
How cool would that be? Oh, that's
So those are the two things I wanted to talk about. We should really plan.
Okay, so I'll work on Tanya. You work on her too. And are you going to Marchand this weekend?
No. Maybe, I'm not sure.
If you do, they'll work on her. And then we have to do. I'll talk to Diggs. We'll book that chess episode. I'll make sure Yvonne's there. And then so I feel like Run with Rob, like there's so many. I want to put an end to this there because I can talk about this forever. But
yeah. We need to have like a basic. We need to also have an episode which is like where we talk about maybe a shorter one where we talk about like kind of the highlights or something, right?
Yeah, well, like definitely my highlight was running with my dad. Like that was the coolest thing ever. But there were so many, like my whole hockey team showed up.
Yeah. There's a lot of
15 guys. They all did their first half marathon. The last day running with Joel and Don, like that was so special. And like Uncle Ray. And, I think of Justin, you trying to push him and me knowing it wasn't going to work. And then catching up to you guys. Like that was a fun day.
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
I was just like, so Charlie's like, I'll pace you to 2 hours. So Charlie I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing a 2 hour today. So I'll do two. I think I decided I was going to do 206 or 208 or something. I was doing exactly 6 minute kilometers. So which is exactly 206 plus the 100 meters.
You must have been doing a bit faster than that. Because I know we slowed down a little bit, but we were doing 540 till.
What day is that? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. It was the 21st, I think.
In the morning.
Yeah.
I did a 207.
Yeah.
I was doing 6 minutes.
Which is 6 minutes. Okay, maybe. So he slowed down quite a bit. But he kept running. He did not walk.
No, I know. And I'm not trying, like, Justin, it was unbelievable what he did. I'm just saying, I kept my pace. You guys went ahead, and then slowly I could see myself.
So we could have just ran together the whole time, is what you're saying.
Whatever. I'm saying that was a fun day.
But that other guy could have ran it way faster. The other guy we ran with, he could have ran at like 145.
Which one again? Aiden, yeah.
He
ran another leg after.
He was barely breathing.
It's funny how like they all just blend together, all the legs and all the, like, I remember running with Aiden, but like I can't tell. I have to like, okay, when did I run with Aiden? Because it was so much, right? So much. It was just the coolest thing ever. And the last thing I want to say on this Run with Rob thing is like, I have to. So we have a ton of footage, and for me, it was like the coolest thing I've ever done. So I'm definitely gonna give the footage to. We're gonna make a mini documentary, and I'm gonna put it on the channel here so that people can kind of see what the experience was. And I'm also writing a book, and the book I've decided what it's going to be. It's because I would always say no one's ever written a book on this. So I'm going to write a book on how to run across your province. It's going to be more like a story, why we decided to do it. And hopefully it's funny and it's going to have some highlights, but it's going to be like how to run across Manitoba is kind of the theme. But anyways, I do want to talk about a couple of things that we have coming up here. So really quickly. So we've talked nothing about me, but you've been are you finding the training tough after Ironman? Like to just kind of get back to doing, how's your?
No, I mean, I love training. Training's the funnest thing I do. So, no, I'm not finding it tough.
Yeah, it's the journey, right? It's why
So people, sometimes I see these videos or these comments and they talk about like the dedication, the sacrifice that people do to train for an Ironman or something like that or whatever. And to me, it's like, it's not a sacrifice. It's the training is like the funnest part. It's so fun. Anyways, that's my point.
Yeah, you don't need to stop yourself from finishing that sentence. I think
it's hugely important. The point is, if I could train longer. If I'd have more time to train, I would do more training. Like it's like, I don't know how to explain this, but it's not a sacrifice because I love it so much.
Right. I think the piece that I see as I understand as a sacrifice is the family aspect and
that is, but that's why I limit it.
Yeah.
That's why I limit my training to a certain amount, right?
Yeah. So we got a race next weekend. I don't know if we'll chat before then. We should, but we're doing just an Olympic distance triathlon in
Oh,
Burns
I
Hill.
forgot you're doing it now. Oh God. Okay, I got to train harder this week. No, just kidding.
And then what do you have after that? You have St. Malo?
Yeah.
And then you have literally nothing till November?
Well, so one thing I want to text you about, so maybe we can put it on the air here, is 10K at the Manitoba Marathon.
Yeah, so we've already talked about this, haven't we?
Yeah, are we doing it? For sure, for sure.
I was kind of thinking of doing the full, but I mean,
me too, but I don't know.
But not to push myself.
Like an easy full.
Like an easy full. Like the pace I was running these things at, like a 3:59.
See what Patrick would say.
Yeah, he'd probably not be too happy with that, but it would be fun to push a 10K. Danny Doge, who ran with me on one of the legs, he's got a crew of guys that are all trying to break 40 or whatever.
40, fudge. 40 is not easy.
Well, Charlie, you did. I know you just downhill.
A 25K, I've never done in an actual race. I mean, I've done him as part of a half. Actually, so my best 5K that isn't downhill assisted was in part of a half marathon.
That 129 that you did?
Yeah, I did like a 20. The last 5K of my 129 was like a 2010 or something.
Did you ever try to just see what you could do for 5K? Like, you've never done that.
I don't think I could run that hard unless it's a race.
Okay. So
I don't think I could mentally do it.
Well, the one way, I think we've talked about this before, the one way that I did it, you just put the treadmill at whatever and you just
I don't count treadmill.
That's such BS. What is
No, sure. Yeah, agreed. You could do it like that. But
I think I did. What did I do? An 1821 or something like that on a treadmill? 1840? I don't remember. I broke 19 for sure by quite a bit, I think. But it was
so I've been doing some interval training recently, and Patrick's telling me that I'm close to my max heart rate. I'm like, no, I got 10 more. Don't worry about that. I got way more in the tank. I'm trying to say.
We were chatting today about Labby and his half and Marco and Sil and all the guys. And Labby's like, I pushed hard that last mile, Rob, when you were like, we gotta, because I was asking him how, and he went to 185 or whatever. Yeah. And then he goes, that's 2 hours of effort. And I finished at a 185. What did you do for your 256 marathon, Rob? And I was like, I don't know. I pulled it up.
170.
I'm embarrassed because I said what I did. And they're like, so I finished at 168.
Yeah, but it's different, right? I think I finished at 178 or something. But actually, I think I finished at one. I slowed, I took it easier at the end.
I did too, I think, because I knew I had it. I knew I had it, right?
Yeah. So I think the hardest part of that one was probably miles 20 to 24 or something.
Yeah.
Where that was the highest my heart rate was.
That was in November, right?
Yeah.
November 11th, right?
But marathon is different because I think they're younger, right? A lot younger. So that makes a huge difference.
But it was funny when I said that and I pulled up I was like, yeah, I finished at 167. And I peaked. That was my peak. And I averaged 163. And they're like, you didn't even hustle. You didn't even leave it all out there. I was like, well, I did, 355, 357, 353, 346, 349, 351, 347, 346, 351.
What are these numbers?
My kilometers. Those are fast kilometers.
And I beat you?
Yeah, that was the middle part. Yeah, you.
Okay, but it's downhill. Anyways,
it's down. I'm just saying, those guys are like, Rob, you could have gone harder. I'm like, I did a good time though.
Yeah.
No, you didn't go hard enough. So I was kind of like, I I wonder if
Yeah, so back to the 10K. So 40K, 40 is not, that's going to be extremely hard. Okay, so wait, what's your plan for do you have goals for the Birds Hill one?
I haven't. I just signed up today. I don't even.
Okay, so never mind. Let's not talk about that. But the 10K, let's do it, or what?
I haven't even. Yeah, we could do the
Or
10K.
wait, we could do a relay.
I was like Alexandre ran, right? He did 5K. I'm wondering if I can get him to commit to like what's the shortest leg in the relay?
4 miles, I think.
4 miles, 6.4K. I wonder if he could do that. That'd be awesome. But then we're not going to get a good time. You're saying like
I don't care about the good time. I just want to. Maybe it'd be fun to just do one like the family. Like we could go me, you, Tanya, Claude, and Alexandre.
If he could do the short one, yeah, maybe we could do that. I'll ask him. It's
or Michelle, or we could
get Michelle. But I think Michelle's doing. I think she's gearing up to do her first full.
Ooh, okay. Marathons are hard. Marathons are hard.
I know. I'll tell you what, though.
She can do it, though. 100% she can do it. You have to be, the hardest thing is you have to be prepared for how hard it's going to be.
Yep. Yeah. Marathons are hard. And you know what I realized? Half marathons are hard, too, for anyone who's never. Like, the equivalent for us to do our first marathon, and when we say marathons are hard, it's the same for the people that have never done a half.
Yeah.
Like, every person I ran with, like, it was the same thing. These aren't easy. Eh? Oh, fuck no. This sucks. I don't want to do this. Like, it was the same story, whether we're doing, and like the same way I felt when I did my 50, where I wasn't ready for it and I didn't know how hard it was going to be. Like, it's hard. So, like, half marathons are hard. And it was so cool to see all those people suffer. I don't know if that's the right word, and then like revel in the joy of completing a marathon.
Getting through it.
But Michelle was one of the ones that suffered the least. I think she did it.
Yeah. I was telling, I bet you she took it easy so that you don't have to go too hard.
I think she did. She did 2:15 and like she wasn't breathing and she looked like she was fine. That was a bit of a long one for me because she wasn't talking to me.
Oh, yeah.
She had her earphones in and she's like, I don't want to talk to you during this run. This is my wife. And I was like, okay, no problem. But it was an afternoon and I was like, kind of wanted, like the afternoons are tougher for me, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it was a battle, but it was like you start thinking about stuff and whatever, which still blows my mind that Terry Fox, what he did. Okay, so I think we have to figure out what we're going to do for Manitoba Marathon. I don't know if I want to do a 10K. Like I have not. When's the last time? Well, you're doing tempo. I've not done a hard run.
Well, you've done a couple. You raced against after the Ironman and did the 3.5-minute Ks.
1 mile.
And then you raced the last kilometer uphill, did a 4-minute. So you still got the speed, obviously. It's still
1 kilometer, though. 1 kilometer.
Yeah, but if you got it for one, like for me, okay, I don't know. I'm older, I guess, but I've been doing intervals, and I did 1 kilometer at 4 minutes, and it was painful.
You know what I'm going to do tonight? I want to see what I can do for a 5K.
That's another episode for us. We're going to do a 5K or a 1 mile race or something like that. A short one between me and you.
Okay.
But I have no chance. I know I have no chance, but it would be fun to challenge. A 1 mile or a 5K or something.
What would be the one, where would be the distance you think that I'm no longer favored?
I think you're favored at all distances right now. I think because
I'm not favored at a marathon. You beat me.
No, 0 chance right now. You're in better shape. So here's what happened though, right? So after our last marathon, I was a little injured, and I think I didn't do as much run training as you did. So I think from a running perspective, you're favored. Not that I can't come back, but right now you're more fit
slightly favored.
You're more fit than me at all distances.
Minus 180.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Okay. Okay. Well,
for a bike race, though, I think
you're definitely stronger at bike. Yeah, like I think you might like. Do you think you're favored this weekend?
No,
because it's more than half, right? The bike is.
I'm gonna say because the swim is a higher proportion of an Olympic triathlon.
I know, but like it'll be 21 or 20 minutes. Like it's a minute, right? At the most.
Well, I'm going to take 30, I think.
Or sorry, am I wrong on my times?
So it's
Whatever.
1,500 meters, right? So
Sorry.
you'll probably do it in like 27.
Yeah, so 27 or 28. Like it'll be.
And I'll do it in 30, maybe.
You're not 10% slower.
I think I am, yeah. Close to that.
Okay. 5
Well,
minutes.
so you took 75, I took 85 last time.
Is that real? Is that what happened?
At the Ironman, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think you got me on the swim by 3 minutes. I think I may get you on the bike by a few minutes.
You're definitely going to beat me on the bike, yeah.
And then transitions is going to be tight. You're probably going to be faster than me.
I'm putting the shoes on the bike.
It's going to be a tight battle, I think. I think you might be favored. And then the run, I don't know. I think you got me on the run too by a couple minutes.
Yeah, I think you're stronger than you're.
Yeah, unless you're not fully recovered from your 24 days, which could be. So that could be.
I have my excuse ready if ever.
Yeah, that's your exactly.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so all right, we got a lot of stuff to figure out here. So,
anyways, yeah,
this is a good episode. I'm glad we recorded this because I wanted to get all this, like my thoughts and everything, and it's it was the coolest thing. And next year, if I do Alberta and my family comes, we have a motorhome. I'm buying a motorhome too.
Yeah.
So you could come and hang out with our kids while we're not running. And I would do it differently. There's so many things I would do differently, but I kind of know what I would do is I would predetermine the pace. So come run with Rob and Charlie.
Yeah.
The morning one will be 2:10, and that's the pace we're running. If you fall behind, you're in the motorhome. So like it's a group run, so we don't have to have a million volunteers. We could do it just with Diego and
yeah.
Diego.
Well, yeah, I think you'd want to avoid having to have
running groups.
Mom and dad again doing the whole thing. It was hard on them.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
they were very happy. They were very happy to be part of it and to help, but I think they tired them out quite a bit.
Yeah, but to be clear, I didn't slave drive my parents here.
No. It's just it was just harder than anticipated, I think, for them.
Yeah. I think like I told them to take days off and I told them to
Well, obviously they're not going to do that, right?
Yeah. But I mean I'm gonna have Diggs and Yvan and probably Labby, and I'll probably get 3-4 guys to come, and that's boom. There we go. That's our crew. And then we have our families with us, so we don't have to feel guilty spending 12 days running, right?
Yeah.
And then I would do 2:10 in the morning probably, and 2:20 in the afternoon, or 2:25 in the afternoon, and that's the pace we run. And
well, good news about Alberta is you'll have a lot of downhill probably.
Yes,
but you'll have also, although it'll be net downhill, there's going to be more terrain elevation changes.
The first many legs you're in the mountains, so
yeah, cool.
So anyways, you think about that if you have any interest, but I think it'd be cool. And then
maybe if we do it at a time where Cheryl's not working, and somehow I guess we'd rent a motorhome too, because you can I probably wouldn't be able to keep working though. I mean, it take 2 weeks off, no big deal.
Yeah, but you could easily do 2 hours a day. That's kind of what I was.
Just do the morning one.
Or no, what I'm saying, you could do 2 hours of work a day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I could do that.
Because we had Wi-Fi in the motorhome, and it was a pretty good setup. Okay, I'll let you go get your kids. And when are we recording next week? Oh yeah, we're supposed to do an episode. Okay, if we don't record an episode, let's do a plan B, like a 3:30 or something on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. All work for me.
Okay.
Which one?
Sorry. Let me check. I mean, things are right now. It's all open, but sorry. Can we do Tuesday?
Tuesday at 3:30.
Yeah.
I have a 3, so 3:30. We'll have an hour there.
Okay. And but ideally, we do. I really want to do the chest thing.
I know. And you're You're better at me at chess right now too. So I'm less excited about that one because I feel like I need to play 100 games over the weekend here just to not get killed.
No, I mean chess is a lot more random than people think.
I know, but like I can't. You're gonna play Sicilian, and I don't remember how it
No,
works.
I don't play. No, I promise I will not play.
Promise we'll play some sort of king or queen's pawn game.
I'll play. If I'm black, I'll play.
Italian?
Oh, I'll play black. Okay, and I'll play e5.
Okay, that's a deal. That's a deal.
Okay.
Then I could have some fun. All right.
Sorry, I might play d5.
No, man. What if I play D4?
Yeah, I play d5 no matter what. So sorry, in my blitz games, I play d5 my first move no matter what, just because you can have the next move for free, like because there's no dangerous moves. It's hard to explain, but
Okay. All right, good stuff. Good episode.
Okay,
Cheers.
cheers.